Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Taste. I am so glad to be back and to share my recipes with you. Today, we're making pot roast, but just not any kind of pot roast. We're making a pot roast that has an Italian flair to it. And it's served with polenta, two different ways. If you're new to my channel, then take the time to like and subscribe. I offer insight into my favorite dishes, food styling, and much more. And if you're interested in seeing what I cook in between episodes, also follow me on Instagram. Okay guys, let's get started. For the roast, we would need to prep our ingredients. So let's carry on. Let's start by chopping one large red onion. You can save the peels for making chicken stock later. I'm just doing a medium chop, which allows me to practice my knife skills. Put the onion aside, and let's work on our bell pepper. Just slice the corners, avoiding the seeds. From there, just cut your pepper into half-inch strips, then dice. Finish that step and let's move on to our carrots. Peel your orange friend and cut off the ends. Next, dice the carrot to a similar size as your onion and bell pepper, like so. Repeat the process to 3 stalks of celery and let's move on to the roast. I have a 2.5 pound chuck roast, which I'll pat dry. Add about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt along with my secret to excellent browning, baking soda. As explained in my weekend salmon recipe, baking soda, when applied to proteins, lowers the pH balance, acting like a catalyst to the Maillard reaction. Basically, it's better browning at a lower temperature. Next, chop a handful of fresh cilantro, stems included, and then set aside. In my Dutch oven set on medium heat, add about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Lay down your roast and let it sear for about 4 minutes. After the 4-minute mark, check out your steak and admit that I was right about baking soda. Sear the other side for about 2 to 3 minutes total and then remove. Pour in some olive oil and dump in your onions and then stir. Follow with the other vegetables and season with salt, black pepper, red pepper flakes, Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, and oregano. Squeeze in about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, 3 cloves of garlic, and pour in some leftover wine from the night before. Next, pour in your crushed tomatoes, plus 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Season again with salt and pepper, along with some Worcestershire sauce. Stir the pot and add your roast. Cover with a heavy lid and place the pot in a 300-degree Fahrenheit oven for 2.5 hours. Okay, let's check on our roast. I'm tasting my sauce for seasoning. Everything seems fine, but let's add some fresh herbs for brightness. Put the lid on, and let's place the roast back in the oven for another 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's work on our polenta. In a 3-quart saucepan, add your milk and salt and bring that to a boil. Next, add your polenta to the pot and mix. You can also use old-fashioned grits, which will be cheaper. Besides adding salt to your water, stirring the polenta is very important. I can't stress that enough. Nobody wants a lumpy mess. Just take your time. If anybody calls you, then just put the phone on speaker. The grits will tell you when it's done. Okay, at this point, my polenta is getting creamy, so let's add some butter. I went a little easy on the salt at the beginning because I plan to use salted butter, particularly European salted butter, which has a higher salt and fat content. Just keep stirring for a few minutes. Season with black pepper, and boom, it's done. I have not forgot about the roast. It smells amazing and it's so tender. If you're making this dish in advance, then place the roast on a separate platter so we can focus on perfecting the sauce. Chuck roast tends to be fatty, which can transfer to your sauce. A way to get around that is to chill your sauce for at least 4 hours, so the fat becomes solid and easier to remove. If you want to be fancy, then just break out your stick blender. Remember to cover your white shirt. And let's roll. Just get the sauce as smooth as you like it. I think this dish is perfect for Sundays or for special occasions. I'm just transferring my roast, which has been chilling in the fridge, into a baking vessel. Just smother your roast with a very smooth sauce, which I might even call a gravy. Place a layer of wax paper and foil right on top and put everything into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven just until everything is warmed up. Okay, get your roast out of the oven and let's just adore all of the hard work you put into this. The meat is so tender. You can literally use a spoon to pull it apart. Now, if you want to plate this up casually, then just use a hefty serving of your polenta or grits right onto your plate. Then top that with your tender pot roast and spoon some gravy on top. And to cut the richness, just add some homemade pickled onions, which I will link in the description box. That's how I plate for a casual weekend. Now, if you want a fancy 5-star experience, then boil your polenta like before, and then pour that mixture into a pre-sprayed baking dish. Cover and cool in your fridge until solid. Once your polenta gets solid, just remove it from the baking vessel, pat dry, and then cut out your shapes. It can be squares, circles, whatever. I'm opting in for rounds and football shapes. Again, this is just fancy. Just coat your polenta in a thin layer of flour and let that rest for a moment while we get our oil ready. I'm just using some regular vegetable oil. You can also use peanut or olive oil. It's whatever you want. Just add enough to coat your skillet, add your rounds, and fry them for about 3 minutes per side, or until golden brown. Flip your polenta and fry the other side for another 2 to 3 minutes. You just want your polenta to be warm in the center. Again, everything is already cooked. Once that's done, transfer your rounds to a plate that's lined with paper towels or just a draining rack. Season right away with salt and pepper and fry the rest of your batch. Pull out your fanciest bowl for your fancy fried polenta. Check out the crispy exterior. Place a decent amount of your Italian roast right on top and pour on the gravy. For some brightness, you can julienne slice a lemon peel and carefully place that on top of your beef. While we're at it, just squeeze a little bit of lemon to balance out those rich components. There we have it, 2 versions of my Italian pot roast with polenta. Now let's dig in. Okay guys, that is our episode for today. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe like I mentioned. Also, there is a notification button at the top. Go ahead and hit that so we can have more episodes with each other. And guess what? We're going to have more. A lot more. So, go ahead and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Be happy, be safe,